Back when I was just a kid, around 8 or so, I experienced something that's pretty much etched into my memory. You see, I was the unexpected late addition to my family, with both of my siblings being a good decade older than me. One night, something straight out of a horror movie played out in my own house. I was jerked awake by some intense arguing or panic coming from downstairs. Peeking through my slightly ajar door, I could just make out my parents' voices, laced with anxiety over something I couldn't quite grasp. With a mix of curiosity and concern, I called out to them from the top of the stairs, only to be met with my mom's firm voice telling me to go back to bed. Her tone had this edge of stress that made me not want to push any further. So back to bed I went, even though the house fell into this unnerving silence after I heard the front door slam shut. Later that night, the sound of the door and footsteps echoed through the house again. My mind tried to rationalize it as my brother Chris coming home late, which wasn't unusual for him, but the quiet that followed was just off. The next thing I knew, footsteps were creeping up the stairs, heading straight for my room. The door creaked open to reveal nothing but a dark silhouette, an unidentifiable figure that stood silently before closing the door again. That moment was pure, unadulterated fear. Driven by a mix of guts and maybe stupidity, I went down to investigate, only to freeze at the sight of a tall figure in the kitchen. The voice that told me to go back upstairs didn't belong to anyone I knew. I bolted back to my room, diving under the covers, my heart pounding out of my chest. The real kicker came the next morning when I found out my parents had been out the entire time, rushing to the hospital because of an accident my brother Chris had been in. The realization that some random person had been wandering around our house and so close to me was chilling. The fact that nothing was stolen didn't do much to comfort me. It was the violation of our home, the breach of our personal sanctuary, that really got to me. Reflecting on it now as a 21-year-old, the whole experience feels surreal, like a bad dream that you realize wasn't a dream at all. It's a stark reminder of how quickly safety can turn into vulnerability, a lesson I learned way too early in life.